the risk he was taking. One wrong move and everything could unravel.
Changes coming to the Middle East at last.
The secret he's chasing is bigger than he ever imagined. As he follows a man gesturing him forward, Roy doesn't hesitate, but soon finds himself captured by Al-Rawi's men, who swiftly take control and kidnap him. After managing a narrow escape, Roy finally comes face to face with Al-Rawi. But something completely unexpected happened. The movie opens on March 19th, 2023, in the heart of Baghdad, a city engulfed in turmoil. Gunfire echoes through the streets and explosions shake the ground. Amid the chaos, Iraqi General Mohammed al-Rawi hastily scribbles something in his notebook. His security officer rushes in and swiftly helps him escape the scene by car. However, before leaving, Mohammed hands the guard a note with strict orders to alert his officers, instructing them to retreat to their safe houses and await further instructions. Afterward, Army officer Roy Miller and his seasoned team head to an Iraqi weapons storage facility, expecting to find a large cache of armaments. Upon arrival, they discover another military unit already on site. Roy approaches their leader and inquires about the situation. The officer, visibly frustrated, explains that they lack the manpower to secure the area and warns Roy of a sniper positioned in a nearby tower, preventing them from advancing. Roy is taken aback by the lack of control, especially with looters running wild across the compound. Without hesitation, he orders his team to move in, leading the charge himself. They manage to take out the sniper, only to discover the warehouse is completely empty. Furious, Roy realizes this is the third time they've come up empty-handed, intensifying his doubts about his intelligence they've been receiving. Frustrated, he orders his team to leave the site immediately. Meanwhile, at the airport, U.S. Department of Defense official Clark greets Iraqi exile politician Ahmed Zubaydi upon his return. As the scene unfolds, Clark is supported by Wall Street Journal reporter Lori Dane, who presses him for a direct conversation with someone named Megalyn. Clark dismissively avoids her questions and walks away. Meanwhile, Colonel Bethel and other military officers hold a meeting to review their progress in the ongoing search for weapons of mass destruction. During the discussion, Roy raises concerns about the accuracy of their intelligence sources. He highlights the repeated failures in the missions he had assigned, pointing out questions in the intelligence team's operation. Despite his concerns, the higher-ups dismiss Roy's warnings without much consideration. After the meeting, CIA agent Martin approaches Roy, informing that the next location he's supposed to search was already inspected by a UN team 2 months ago, and it was confirmed to be empty as well. Martin warns Roy that he's likely wasting his time and hands him his business card, suggesting Roy contact him if he wants to dig deeper. Later, while leading his team through an Iraqi street, they encounter a large crowd of frustrated locals, visibly angry at the military presence. Sensing the tension, Roy quickly orders his team to return to their vehicles and continue moving forward. Clark, along with other high-ranking officials, including CIA agent Martin, convenes to discuss Iraq's future post-invasion. During the meeting, Clark asserts that Ahmed Zubaydi is poised to take a leadership role in the country. However, Martin strongly disagrees, pointing out that Zubaydi has been absent from Iraq for the past 30 years and has, in recent years, been selling out their interests. He questions the reliability of the information they're relying on. Despite Martin's objections, Clark dismisses his concerns. As the conversation continues, Martin warns the officials that if they continue on this path, the country could descend into civil war within 6 months. Meanwhile, Roy and his team are on a mission when a local Iraqi man named Freddie is aggressively restrained by Perry, one of Roy's soldiers. Roy intervenes, stopping the confrontation, but Freddie is furious, explaining he was only trying to share information. After calming down, Freddie informs Roy that he has witnessed a gathering of individuals at a nearby location who appear to be holding an important meeting. Elsewhere, General al-Rawi and other Iraqi officials are also in a tense discussion about the country's situation. Al-Rawi warns his associates that unless the Americans agree to negotiate with them, they are likely headed for a direct war. Roy and his team, along with Freddie, commandeer a local Iraqi citizen's car, head towards the location Freddie had previously mentioned. Upon arriving, they intercept a BMW carrying 3 men and quickly take control. Entering the nearby house, they narrowly miss capturing General al-Rawi, who manages to escape. However, they apprehend Saeed, who had been meeting with al-Rawi. With Freddie's help, Roy extracts key information from Saeed, who insists only General al-Rawi holds the answers they need. As Saeed mentions a crucial notebook, special forces arrive and take him away. Before leaving, Saeed alerts them that Roy has the notebook. The team tries to retrieve it, but Roy discreetly hands it to Freddie, who slips away unnoticed. Later, Roy catches up with Freddie, but Freddie, now nervous and sensing danger, tries to run. He reminds Roy that he led them here, and, despite Roy's offer of a reward, passionately explains that he's motivated not by personal gain, but by love for Iraq and a desire for peace. Afterward, Roy contacts Martin, informing him that he's come across something significant. Martin instructs Roy to meet him at the Green Zone's Republican Palace. However, Jerry, one of Roy's team members, opposes the plan, leading to a disagreement. They ultimately decide to split the team and go their separate ways. Meanwhile, Lori confronts Clark once again, pressing him for answers. Clark dismisses her concerns, stating that the stakes are far bigger than her job as a journalist. Lori hints that her newspaper had published stories on weapons of mass destruction based on Clark's intelligence, and now demands access to Magellan, the key source behind this intel. At the Green Zone's Republican Palace, Roy and his team arrive, taken aback by the place's beauty, with tourists wandering around, enjoying themselves. Roy meets with Martin and briefs him on the earlier events. Handing over the notebook, he confirms that he spotted al-Rawi and witnessed special forces taking the individual who was with him. Martin arranges for Roy to access the prison where Saeed is being held for interrogation.
Now that's the book that I took off this
Later,
guy.
Laurie approaches Roy, asking about his conversation with Martin, but he refuses to divulge any details. Frustrated, she hints that coming back empty-handed doesn't make much sense and hands him her contact card before they part ways. That evening, back in his hotel room, Roy begins searching for more information about Lori Dane. On the other side, Saeed is being tortured by the special forces, who are demanding to know al-Rawi's whereabouts. They threaten his family, but Saeed pleads for them to leave his family out of it, continuously referencing the notebook as the key to locating al-Rawi. Clark approaches Roy, praising his efforts and asking about the notebook's location. When Roy says he gave it to Martin, Clark becomes uneasy, aware that Martin's involvement could complicate things due to their differing agendas. Roy later meets with Martin, who reveals that Clark's unit was behind the faulty WMD intelligence that misled Roy. Martin explains that the notebook contains addresses around Baghdad, mainly in Adamia, that could lead them to al-Rawi. He gives Roy a plan to access Saeed by bribing the lower-level Republican Guard with $1 million, warning him to keep Saeed from sharing crucial details with the American interrogators. Shortly after, Clark arrives and confronts Martin, demanding that all relevant information be handed over. He produces a letter with White House authorization, leaving Martin with no choice but to comply. Clark takes possession of the notebook and passes it to the special forces, emphasizing the need to prioritize using local assets. Later that evening, Roy visits the prison and finds Saeed in poor condition. Roy presses him about the meeting he mentioned earlier, and Saeed weakly utters a single word: Jordan. Frustrated, Roy confronts Lori, accusing her of publishing false intelligence. She refuses to reveal her source, Magellan, but after Roy suggests that al-Rawi might be Magellan, she reluctantly admits that Magellan met with a high-ranking official in Jordan in February.
Jordan. He just said Jordan.
Roy quickly shares the information with Martin, who is initially skeptical. However, a CIA technician confirmed that al-Rawi was in Amman, Jordan, on February 5, 2003, and points out that Clark's recent actions suspiciously align with the Al-Rawi case. Just then, they receive news of an attack on Al-Rawi's safe house, leading them to realize Clark may be hunting Al-Rawi to keep the truth hidden. Meanwhile, a masked man kills Al-Rawi's team, but Roy saves one of the men and sends a message requesting a meeting with Al-Rawi that night. The survivor informs Al-Rawi through Freddy, acting as a translator, is uneasy about the meeting. At the same time, a TV announcement declares that major combat operations in Iraq have ended, bringing relief to the team, including Clark. However, Clark soon learns from Special Forces that they are facing a new, serious problem. As Roy heads to meet Al-Rawi, he communicates his movements to his team via a hidden microphone, aware that he's taking a significant personal risk. While making his way through the area, Roy notices a man gesturing for him to follow. After trailing the man for a while, Roy is suddenly ambushed and captured by Al-Rawi's men. This heightens the urgency for Roy's team, who quickly take command of the situation and prepare for a rescue operation. Overhead, Special Forces helicopters begin tracking the vehicles transporting Roy, preparing to intercept.
God damn it! They've taken it.
Roy finally meets General Al-Rawi, who is heavily guarded by armed soldiers. During their tense exchange, Al-Rawi reveals there was never an Iraqi WMD program, claiming Roy's government only wanted the lie. Growing suspicious, Al-Rawi accuses Roy of setting a trap and, in a fit of rage, attacks him, demanding more information. Roy urges Al-Rawi to reveal the truth and reveal with him before it's too late. Their confrontation is interrupted by a guard, warning that American soldiers are approaching. Al-Rawi escapes, ordering Roy's execution, but Roy kills his attacker and pursues Al-Rawi. A firefight erupts, with helicopters tracking the chaos from above. Amid the violent crash, the leader of the Special Forces team is killed by one of Al-Rawi's men. Shortly after, Roy takes down the same attacker, and the pursuit continues. Eventually, Miller catches up to Al-Rawi. But just as he captures the general, Freddy suddenly appears and shoots Al-Rawi dead. Freddy declares that Iraq's future is not Al-Rawi's to decide, believing the general was a tyrant and a traitor to the Iraqi people. With Al-Rawi dead, his only witness who could expose the truth, Roy, tells Freddy to escape, understanding that the moment has now passed and the political game is out of their hands. In the film's conclusion, Roy writes a report detailing the truth he uncovered and confronts Clark, who dismisses it, claiming WMD no longer matters. Furious, Roy watches as Iraqi leaders reject Zubaydi, the US-backed candidate, accusing him of being an American puppet. Later, Laurie receives Roy's report by email, along with several major news outlets, ensuring the truth about the flawed WMD intelligence reaches the world. The movie closes on this revelation. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.